If you're looking to score the perfect apartment in Boston, you're in the right place. Whether you're a first-time renter or a seasoned mover, finding an apartment in Boston can feel like finding a needle in a haystack. Stick around because in this video, I'll be sharing the ultimate tips that will not only help you find your dream apartment, but also help you avoid the common mistakes that a lot of renters fall into. Hey guys, it's Tyler Kelly. I'm a Massachusetts real estate agent at Upright Realty Group, and welcome to my channel. If you're new or happen to click on my video because you're finding it very difficult to move into Boston, don't worry because I'm here to make things so much easier for you and so much less stressful. And guys, if you have any questions or you think I missed anything, please leave a comment down below because I respond to 100% of my comments. Now, when it comes to searching for an apartment in Boston, it's not just a good idea, it's like the secret weapon, all right? Whether you're moving for a new job or just attending any of the local universities or just craving the city life, moving in early and making those preparations one step ahead will make all the difference. Here's a pro tip. Boston has a very, very unique leasing cycle. Most apartment leasing starts on September 1st, and this is due to most of the population being a student population, and the move-in date is usually at that time when the semester starts. Because of this, demand for apartments start to surge at a certain point of time of the year, and that's usually the September 1st date. If you're aiming for the September 1st leasing date, definitely start early. I mean, you definitely want to start around, January or even February, but it's more ideally January that I recommend because you'll have plenty of options to choose from that'll be more affordable and have more of the accommodations and criteria that you're looking for. And I know it sounds crazy, but even by April and May, most of the apartments will honestly be gone. And the unfortunate reality is it's really important to actually get things going and start preparing, 6 months before that, right? Definitely start early so those prime apartments aren't already snatched up and you'll be good to go. Planning ahead isn't just about beating the bushes, it's really about making this whole thing less stressful for yourself. And you'll have more time to scope out apartments that fit your needs and budget, and you will be able to lock down your apartment before the summer rental frenzy hits, which you don't want to be involved in that because it is tiring. It is really tiring when there's multiple people looking at a unit. Say there's 20 people looking at a unit and you have to cross your fingers that you actually get the apartment before anybody else starts signing in. So start early, stay ahead, and make your move to Boston as smooth as possible and as successful as possible. So when it comes to looking for an apartment in Boston, looking around is really just half the battle, right? So let's dive into one of the top online platforms, which is Zillow. It's definitely one of the best places to start searching, especially since they have many different options and many different, criteria that you can choose and kind of single out to find the place that you want. However, I'm gonna be honest, it's really like the dating app of real estate, right? So swipe right on your dream apartment, but don't get catfished. Be cautious of some sneaky agents who leave old listings up just to lure you in. And these listings, for the most part, are usually often already rented out. And the real estate, the agent's intention is to redirect you to different pricier apartments or apartments that you really didn't want to be in the first place. It's important to always verify the availability to avoid falling for any of these bait and switch tactics because those are something that's very common in Boston, unfortunately. Now, another solid spot for apartment hunters is Facebook Marketplace, right? So it's basically the garage sale of the internet, right? But with fewer questionable looking couches on there. You can find a variety of listings and you can also join Facebook groups, which is what I personally like doing. These groups are basically like the gold mines for finding sublets or roommates, which can make rent way more affordable, significantly more affordable, especially for students. Now, if you prefer a more personalized touch, consider working with a real estate agent. As you know, I'm a real estate agent myself, and I can tell you, it's like having a local tour guide who also knows all the best pizza places around the area. Agents help you tick off all the boxes on your wish list and make the whole process smoother, especially if you're out of state or can't visit in person. What's great about us is we can offer virtual tours through FaceTime, Skype, Zoom. You really name it. And you also get the added benefit of having access to exclusive listings you won't find anywhere else. Here's the real kicker, right? So working with an agent comes with a bunch of perks. We guide you through every step, which includes apartment searching, arranging showings, submitting applications, virtual showings, and collecting deposits. We're also like your personal scam shield which is great because we really don't want you falling prey to any of those shady deals that you see online that are too good to be true. And this is particularly valuable if you're new to the area and need expert advice on which neighborhoods to pick on and which ones that would be more convenient for transportation, travel, parking, which area you want to be closest to for work or for university. So this is very helpful if you're up and coming here. So whether you're swiping through Zillow or exploring the Facebook Marketplace or even teaming up with an agent, all of them have their own perks and benefits, and that can help you find your perfect apartment in Boston without the stress and without the worry. And maybe you'll even have a laugh or two along the way, right? Now let's talk about another really important topic, which is budgeting moving costs. Brace yourself, because moving here can cost up to 3 to 4 months rent. And yeah, you heard that, 3 to 4 months. Here's basically the breakdown of what that looks like. You typically need to cover the first month's, last month's, sometimes the security deposit, and occasionally a broker's fee, depending on which landlord you're really dealing with. And it sounds like a lot, and it is, but that's really the reality of moving to Boston compared to, its suburbs. And this all hinges on the landlord's requirements. So all this varies, like I said. And to give you some context, Boston.com reported that we're not producing enough new housing to meet demand or population growth. Less moving out creates less supply as well as less turnover, and prices tend to go up. Now, basically, more people are flocking to Boston for its, its education that's top notch and the job opportunities here. But there aren't enough apartments to go around for everyone. And this scarcity drives up rental prices, so definitely be prepared for that. And I definitely don't want you guys coming here having very high expectations for something that, is compared to outside the city or, in a small town that's away from the city, because those prices are completely different from Boston. And it's also worth noting that brand new apartments in Boston are generally more pricier than the classic brownstone buildings that might not have the latest renovations. So, buildings that have come up in like 2012, those are going to be much more pricier since they're on the luxury end and have, the gyms inside there, a lot more amenities like laundry in unit, pools, bunch of different shuttle services that they provide. Compared to the brownstone buildings, they're going to have less amenities, but they're still gonna have the convenience of being right next to transportation like the Green Line or the Red Line, depending on where you are, if you're in Allston or Fenway. If you're okay with that vintage kind of charm, you might be able to save some cash. Those would be much more affordable than the South End or the Back Bay areas. So definitely plan for those hefty move-in costs and consider your options carefully. And knowing what to expect can save you from that price shock, which a lot of people get when they arrive here in Boston, and it can definitely help make a smooth transition for you to Boston. So now let's talk a little bit about the pet policies in Boston, because if you got a furry friend like myself, I have a cat, here he is, this topic is very crucial. So be prepared for pet policies because they're pretty restrictive here. Some buildings have strict no pet policies, while others are much more lenient. The good news is, many apartments do allow cats, which I love because I love cats. They're fantastic because let's face it, who doesn't love cats, right? And if you're a dog lover, things might be a little bit trickier because some places will welcome your dog with open arms while others might not be as accommodating. Don't forget about the pet deposits or the pet fees, because these can range anywhere from $50 to $75 a month. And this is something that you definitely want to factor into your budget along with your monthly cost. Now let's dive into the world of utilities, because these can definitely make a big difference in your monthly expenses as well, on top of the pet fees. That's if you have a pet. Now in Boston, most apartments include heat and hot water in the rent, which is a nice perk, right? However, some places will require you to pay for extra utilities separately, depending on the building you're going to a lease agreement with. So let's start off with what's typically paid for. So fuel and hot water and heat, unless you've signed a written document stating otherwise, the landlord typically covers the cost of fuel for hot water and heat. And having heat in Boston can definitely save you from those cold months during the winter. And it's definitely a benefit that is worth noting. Now with water, the landlord usually requires you to pay for water, and this is typically a standard inclusion in most leases. With electricity and gas, they're a bit more, they kind of vary. I mean, if your apartment has separate meters for electricity and gas, and your lease specifies that you're responsible for it, then you probably need to budget that into your utilities. And always double check your lease to see if these apply to you. If you're considering one of Boston's charming older brownstone buildings, definitely keep in mind that they usually cover heating costs, like I said earlier, which is great for those really cold winters. But when it comes to summer, you might find yourself needing a fan or an AC unit to beat the heat, as these buildings often don't include air conditioning or central AC. In a nutshell, always check what utilities are included before signing a lease, because your lease should clearly state your rental amount and which utilities you are responsible for. If there's no written lease, the landlord is generally responsible for utilities unless there's a separate written document requiring you to pay for them. Understanding what utilities are included can save you from unexpected costs and help you budget more effectively for your new Boston apartment. Now, the location, I'm definitely gonna have a map of the MBTA or the train situation that looks very busy in Boston to kind of explain and give you guys a better understanding of how it works. Let's just hop into it and talk about the location and transportation. So what's awesome about Boston is that it's a friendly, walkable city with a great public transportation system known as the T. Whether you're cruising downtown or exploring the vibrant neighborhoods, you got to know the options, and there's plenty of options. The 3 options are trains, buses, and trolleys. And there's also, Uber, taxis, mobile apps that you can use as well. If you're already in the area but just moving to a different part of the city, you know that getting around is mostly a breeze if you know where you are and what transportation you're close to, and you kind of get the swing of things pretty quickly. Let's take Allston, for example, right? So in this neighborhood, you've got the Green Line right at your doorstep, basically. And it's perfect for catching a game straight to Fenway, or really just going straight to the Red Line and going to Cambridge. So let's also talk about the Red Line, right? So it's basically your ticket to the heart of Boston and Cambridge, which Cambridge has, Harvard University, those Ivy League schools. Now, for those with cars, be prepared for parking meters and parking permits, because almost all of Boston apartments require parking permits or parking for rent if you're living like smack dab in the city, right? For the price, I mean, it can really range anywhere from like $50 to $250, depending if you're gonna be having your car in an apartment garage or in a local garage in the area, because sometimes they have parking for rent in other areas like close to your apartment, but not actually smack dab on your apartment. So it's definitely a small price to pay for the convenience of having your car. Again, I'm gonna leave a link in the description down below for the MBTA Boston subway map, or the T, and it's gonna be your ultimate guide to navigating the city basically like a pro, right? So whether you're just kind of strolling through or riding the T or cruising in your car, Boston's basically got transportation covered for you. Now, leveraging these tips and tricks will help you land a Boston apartment 100%. Also, utilizing all of YouTube to help you find more helpful videos that'll make this adjustment to Boston as easy as possible. If you guys have any questions about any of these tips, please drop a comment down below, because I want to see you guys land your apartment knowing full well that you now have the knowledge at your fingertips to make this the best year that you've ever had at apartment hunting in Boston. So again, any questions at all, please drop a comment down below. Otherwise, if you guys got value from this, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.